What is up, guys? You're here with Levels of Wrestling. This is your Wednesday Night Delight, and you are listening to Lowdown. Do not forget, you can download our app from the Google Play Store, where you can always head over, you search Levels of Wrestling, and you download it straight to your Android device. Unfortunately, we don't have an iTunes one yet, but you will get that very soon. On top of that, you can head over to levelsofwrestling.podbean.com, where you can hear all of our shows, including Lowdown and Breakdown, and the occasional Showdown episode. You can also hear from Just Saying, Mind of Carnage, Ringside Ramblers, and of course the newly joined Wrestle Addicts. Big hello to everyone who's listening tonight. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit different. There's just myself talking tonight until Krista shows up, if Krista shows up. And basically, guys, I just want to give you the quickest lowdown I can and let you guys know of what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Let's start off with the big news. Obviously, we've been hyping for a little while that we're going to interview Bram from TNA on July 23rd, but now we've got an added interview as well where we're going to interview one of what I believe to be the hottest commodities to come onto the indie circuit, and that is TNA's former employee, Gunner. Do not miss that on July 8th. It's going to be great. We're going to have him live on the show. We're going to do as much as we can. We're going to answer as many questions from you guys as we can. So if you've got anything, you send it into us at LevelerLOW on Twitter, and we'll get straight to that. So let's start off. This week's Raw. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm also not going to say it was terrible. It's not the best Raw I've seen. The best highlights for me, probably Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, with the the unorthodox apologies from Brock. Giving the headlock to Michael Cole was quite an interesting way of apologizing, but personally, I enjoyed it. You know, kind of sticks to Brock's character. I know there was a lot of people complaining it wasn't quite Brock, and Brock shouldn't be a babyface, but I'll get into that in a bit. On top of that, you've got Kevin Owens cutting a foreign language promo, trying to come over as a heel. Personally, I don't think it, made him come over as a heel. To me, this was one of those things where WWE have tried to tell us that, USA is best. And Kevin Owens kind of blew that out the water a little bit when he cut the French-Canadian promo, and John Cena comes back and he's speaking in like Chinese, he's speaking in French. He probably could have cut it in Mandarin as well. That's just how it is. But this idea of making foreigners seem like heels, it's not a big thing. It's kind of not the 80s anymore. We need to stop that shit. It's not big, it's not clever, and Vince still lives in the past. Speaking of Vince living in the past, I know this week's Raw was taken with Triple H, but it's very unusual to see, random makeout segments in the middle of Raw, especially between two people we've joked could have been on-screen brother and sister. But it's very obtuse. No one likes seeing that. They've kind of ruined Rusev for me. It makes me very uncomfortable to see a guy who should be a legit monster put into that situation. And, of course, it kind of leaves Lana doing nothing as well. It kind of taken away a lot from their characters. Are we meant to suddenly forget that Lana was pro-Russian? Are we meant to suddenly forget that, almost a year and a half that these two were very anti-American. They were very, very much bad heels. And now we're expected to believe that Lana's like this perfect face. I don't see it, guys. I just don't see that coming across. And personally, I'm not fond of it. Also, at the end of Raw, one of the bigger segments or pieces of news to come out of Raw, which is really sad to say this came out as news, was Jamie Noble having an injury. It would appear that Jamie Noble has 3 broken ribs at the hands of Brock Lesnar. There was a lot of people on my Twitter feed saying, Brock's rough. He's he kind of manhandles people in the ring. Well, duh. That's his job. That's his character. He's meant to be rough as hell. Now, obviously, the same people are going to tell me that it's not character if he's just doing it rough and he's he's being sloppy in the ring. It takes 2 to tango. If Seth Rollins was taking German suplexes in a rough manner, then that shouldn't reflect on Brock, because that's just how it goes. One of these times, it's going to get back to, it's going to catch up with Brock, and there will be problems and allegations come out of it. But until then, Let's just accept that that's his in-ring style. It's not UFC. He knows that. We know that. If he didn't know that, they wouldn't have given him to Undertaker. Following on to Undertaker, it came out today that Brock Lesnar apparently was not happy with beating the Undertaker's streak. I kind of get that. I see why he would be unhappy with that. You know, it adds a lot of pressure to him. It means he has to stick around for a bit. Eventually means he's going to have to put someone over to become the next big thing. See what I did there? The next big thing. Anyway, coming on to this, you know, if Brock didn't like it, Brock didn't like it, but he did what was, and I quote, best for business. If that's what the authority and everyone else was telling him to do, then that's what he does. It's the job. It's part of the description. You get in the ring, you do as you're told. People kind of forget that wrestling is essentially stage fighting with athletics thrown in there as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Stage fighting with athletics is one of the coolest things. I am proud to say that I'm a wrestling fan because of that. I've done stage fighting. I've done real fighting. Personally, I'll take stage fighting over real fighting any day. This face is too pretty to be punched. I've had a question in from El Caberso saying, see, I got it right this time, El Caberso. With news of Jamie Noble's injury, will they replace J&J Security or will they just replace Noble? I don't think they've replaced J&J Security. I think it's still going to remain J&J Security. They may even joke and make like K&J Security. It's certainly not going to be B&J Security, as Billy Kidman suggested on Twitter. However, BJ Security, I think everyone loves a little bit of BJ Security, don't you? Honestly, I'm okay with them taking Jamie Noble off TV for a while. Maybe they don't. Maybe they bring him back. He's just going to have the ribs bandaged up under his shirt. We can't really judge it yet. I'm cool with not judging it yet. It's just kind of how it goes. Characters get injured all the time. They do something about it. I mean, look at Rusev, for instance. The guy's got a broken ankle or a broken foot, whichever one it is that they're playing up to. And, you know, he's still on screen. He's still got the cast. They used to bandage guys up all the time. I mean, is it Bob Armstrong or Bob Orton? Sorry. Anyway, used to have the cast all the time. And he's still got it to this day. Even when they brought him back in 2005, still got the cast on. Perfect selling of an injury. Let's just let's make it a Jamie Noble war story, shall we? It came to my attention as well this week. GFW have been doing their live shows. For those of you who don't know, GFW is Global Force Wrestling. This is Jeff Jarrett's new baby. I kind of like it. It's a good throwback to what could have been the territories had Vince not bought them all over. For me, I kind of hope they succeed. I really, really do. It'd be nice to see a little bit of, I don't want to say competition because, you know, God forbid, it's not going to be that long and it's not going to take that much time. But I would like to think that Jeff Jarrett can kind of get this company off its ass, do a little bit more with it than he did with TNA. You know, that's still quite a big ask. TNA is still a very viable company. I say that, you know, gently because it's not really, but it's still fairly viable. The idea is there, and everyone could pull this off the ground, provided they pull their weight. I'm not quite sure I like the idea of having the, you know, the matches in baseball stadiums. It's a little bit weird for me. Maybe that's just because I'm from the UK. We don't have, you know, big outdoor events like that, unless it's football or rugby or, God forbid, cricket, the dullest fucking sport on the planet. I just hope that Jeff Jarrett really sorts this out because, to me, this is an opportunity for a lot of guys to shine. They could be going all around the indie scene as well as working in GFW. They can still be making money. In fact, if you look at guys like AJ Styles, we've said it before on the show, he makes more money on the indies than he did in TNA. I'm not saying TNA are bad for not paying, but that's another matter. This is something that can benefit both wrestlers and wrestling fans if done correctly. We've already seen them work with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and hopefully we'll get to see that kind of thing again. Speaking of indies, guys that often get confused with indies are the Ring of Honor guys. Ring of Honor is no longer indie. Let's not call it that. They've got a TV deal, guys. They can't be deemed as indie anymore. That's just not how it goes. If you've got a TV deal, if you're on television, on mainstream television, sorry, you are not indie. I repeat, not indie. Say it with me one more time. Not indie. It's just not how it works, guys. The fact that these stars are very big. Some of them are well known. I mean, we've just seen AJ Styles, we've seen Chris Daniels, Kaz, Samoa Joe. We've seen all these guys go back there in the last few weeks. And there's nothing wrong with that. These guys, as much as I dislike Ring of Honor, are giving a good show, pretty much most weeks. I know Paul, who's usually with us, he's been watching a lot of that recently. He caught up with Best in the World. I say props to Jay Lethal. I'm sorry, that's a spoiler if you haven't seen it yet, but it's your own fault. Jay Lethal, to me, is one of the best talents going. I remember seeing him in my hometown. We saw him for, would have been my first Rock and Wrestle event. There you go, Steve. Well done for your plug. Rock and Wrestle, great little venue. Great guys that come in. I know they've had a lot of the TNA talent in there. They've had Jay Lethal, like I said. They've had Prince Puma from Lucha Underground. Most people know him as Ricochet. All that kind of stuff. Jack Jester as well. I love the independent stuff like that. To me, that's the heart and soul of wrestling. But seeing Jay Lethal there kind of made it that little bit more special for me, because I remember watching him in TNA when I first tuned in, saw the team of Lethal Consequences. I'm hoping, and this is a big ask, if Vince can bring in Jay Lethal, I would love to see that tag team again. However, I don't want to see them break up New Day. Speaking of tag teams, it was reported the other day that Eric Rowan may have been injured. Glad to report that Big Red is not actually as injured as he seemed, as he was actually working the show the night after. Let's just remember, when we read the rumor mills, we see that kind of shit. It's not a big deal. They're not always correct. They're not always, bang on point. Sometimes they do spit out rumors. Sometimes companies as big as WWE can leak rumors on purpose to get the buzz that they want. If that means you're paying attention to a tag team like Harper and Rowan, who haven't been on TV as much recently, who should have been on TV, then good for them. It means you're paying attention, because Luke Harper has been going around cutting promos, about injured stars. To me, that's a great thing. It means he's getting attention. They're probably going to get some heat off it, and we'll probably get another legit heel tag team. Speaking of tag teams, Cesaro and Kid, man, that's such an iffy situation for Cesaro to be in. Just as they're picking up steam, the poor guy gets left behind again. It's just one of those awkward situations where, Cesaro's picking up steam, and then his partner gets injured. I mean, it's not like he was with Swagger, because Swagger, we all know, had his, let's say, demons. No, okay, let's not say demons. He had fucking weed in the back of his car. He fucked up, and they had to suspend him at some point. Basically, though, Cesaro's now been left behind. Kid's taking surgery, and thank God he chose to take full surgery, unlike Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan chose half surgery or just reconstructive surgery. He didn't choose to have the whole procedure done, which is why he's now rehabbing a lot harder. Tyson Kidd has chosen to go for the full rehab facility and get his neck completely repaired from any injury. And it's good to know as well, there's no heat on Samoa Joe for the incident, because it's just one of these freak of nature things that can happen. So, hopefully we'll get Tyson Kidd back sooner rather than later, and we'll get to see that as well. Big shout out as well tonight, guys, to my friends over at Wrestle Addict. We just want to say a big thank you for them joining the show. Those of you who have been listening in the last few weeks will have probably heard the Podcast Orgy and Podcast Orgy 2. And for those of you who don't know, that's a collective of our shows, The Mind of Carnage, Wrestle Addicts, and ourselves, doing one large show, just talking shit for, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 hours. And you guys can hear the full thing over on YouTube. Go check that out. As far as I'm aware as well, it's on our Levels of Wrestling app, so you can hear it there. If you want to hear us talk about anything in particular on those as well, you can always send it in to us, and we'll talk about that too on the next show, which is the third Thursday of every month. Now, I'm going to say it again, just so you remember, it's the third Thursday of every month. And just because it's the third Thursday of every month. Now, I don't know if anyone's read the spoilers yet for SmackDown. It's kind of refreshing to see that they're using the Intercontinental title in a better light. I'm only saying this because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I'm trying to make sure that I don't say anything that's going to give the game away. But it's nice to see that the IC title is getting a little bit of props, even if it is on a guy like Ryback, who, to me personally, has probably done his best work in the last 4 or 5 months than he's done the whole time he's been in the company. this kind of new face character for him is working really well. Hopefully it'll pick up steam with, the IC title. And hopefully it helps to bring him to a little bit of a more, a serious picture where fans still, sadly, shout Goldberg at him and they're still chanting, "You suck." That's not the case. This guy is really working his ass off. And a guy of his size, when you saw him take his shirt off on Raw, safe to say this guy is, like, legit. He's a tank waiting to, go out to war. Let's make sure Ryback gets the props he deserves. This guy is doing some real good shit. For me personally, someone who's not doing some real good shit would have to be Seth Rollins. Now, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for that. Seth Rollins over the last few weeks has had a really shitty game, and I just can't get over this. The creative team clearly does not know what they want to do with him. He went from being disrespectful heel to chicken shit heel to suddenly being cocky heel. The only correlation there is the fact he was a fucking heel the whole time. Let's make sure that Seth Rollins has something legit under his belt. I'm still kind of frustrated they let J&J pin him, although it was due to distraction, that he shouldn't have been pinned by J&J security. Not only does that make Seth look bad, it kind of makes the legitimacy of his title run look a little bit worse. Speaking of title runs, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins at Battleground. Now, today on Twitter, on my personal account, I put out a tweet saying they're going to have to do a screwy finish. If they don't do a screwy finish to Battlegrounds, Seth Rollins walks away clean over Brock Lesnar? Or does Brock Lesnar walk away clean over Seth Rollins? I don't see WWE doing either of those two things. For me personally, I'd love to think that they would bring in Brock. They'll have a good match. They'll make it strong. They'll make Seth look even stronger. It's about time Seth actually got some weight under his belt. Made him, I don't want to say look a stand above, head and shoulders above the other guys in the Shield, because that's not the case. But he needs to look like a champ at least. He needs to look like he can defend that belt against whoever. On to the point, I've suggested the screwy finish be caused by Sheamus. Brock Lesnar goes for an F5 on Seth Rollins after possibly one of, I want to say one of the better matches of this year. It's going to take a lot to contend with Kevin Owens, John Cena, at least in WWE anyway. But anyway, they give Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar one of at least the best match of the night. I want to see that go down. I want to see it be a real fucking brawl. Let Seth get his ass kicked. He's a chicken shit heel. He's meant to get his ass kicked and then either get a cheap win or lose because of someone interfering. So Seth can still get the win, and I'm fine with that. But Seth has to win. Sorry, Brock has to win via DQ, and Seth retains the belt. The way I look at this is Brock goes for the F5, Sheamus runs in and boots Lesnar in the face. Brogue kick straight to the jaw. Lesnar goes down. Sheamus goes for the pin on Seth. He cashes in 1 month after winning. It might be too soon. I can hear a lot of people already complaining at this idea. We don't want Sheamus as champ. Sheamus is boring. He's so dull. He's been there for ages. Put it on a new guy. It doesn't need to go on a new guy. It needs to go on a guy who can make it look good. It needs to go on a guy who's going to help storylines progress. We already know that WWE wants to give us Triple H versus Seth. So by having Sheamus interfere and cost Brock the match, you get Sheamus versus Brock at SummerSlam for the title that Sheamus has just won. And then you get Seth going after Triple H as a face now because Triple H sent Sheamus out. They were sick of Seth. They didn't want him in the authority because Seth's already said he doesn't need anyone. So let's use that. And let's use the fact that the IWC likes to think Sheamus and Triple H, are gym buddies or whatever. Use that against the internet fan because the internet fan already thinks that Triple H is going to bitch and moan about it. I'm cool with that. I don't know about anyone else. I'd book it. I'm not a big Sheamus guy. I do like him in a match. I think he's a good brawler. Do I want him as a champion? Honestly, I think I would rather Sheamus as a champion over Seth at the moment. But I know I'm probably going to get yelled at about that. Guys, please make sure if you're listening, give the video a like, a share, a subscribe. We'd love to hear from you guys, all your comments. This has been one hell of an amazing year for us. Literally next week, please, please, please tune in, share the word. Next week is our 1-year anniversary doing Lowdown. It's definitely not seemed that way for us. It's kind of flown by. Please make sure that next week you tell your friends, you share the links with everyone. We're going to make this show the biggest one we can. Obviously, we're going to try and give you a couple of extra segments. We'll give you a couple of extra, interactive things to do throughout the week if you want to join in with fun. Even, a couple of hellos. We'll see how many guys we can get on the other podcasts. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. Please, please, please make sure you tune in. And the best way to do that is by either subscribing on YouTube, getting a hold of our app from the Google Play Store where you can search Levels of Wrestling, or heading to levelsofwrestling.podbean.com. Now, the bonus with the app and levelsofwrestling.podbean.com is you can hear from us, the Levels of Wrestling, Mind of Carnage, Ringside Ramblers, Just Saying, and of course, Wrestle Addicts. If you're listening to us tonight as well, just to let you guys know, I'm going to be on Rant with Ant, who is Ant from Wrestle Addicts, and I'm going to be giving you my lowdown on why the IWC has spoiled themselves. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. We're going to hype it up. We're going to go straight into the show. I'm going to rant. He's going to give me some questions, and I'm going to answer them as honestly as I can, which is something I try not to do on here. I try and remain quite clean with my opinions and not give too much backlash to fans, because fans are what push us and fans are what make us listen more. Okay, so over the last year, I've kind of kept it to myself, like what we do. I feel it's about time that you guys knew what Levels of Wrestling is really about. So Levels of Wrestling, to me, started off as just a way of getting my ideas out there, speaking to other wrestling fans, kind of getting to know people. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird. Levels of Wrestling is now a small Twitter page. I say small. Hey, we got 8,000 followers. It's a good start. We're a small wrestling page that likes to promote other podcasts and shows. Essentially, we promote other shows who then promote us, and in return, we give you guys the best content we can for free. Now, recently, you'll have seen us put out t-shirts or t-shirt designs. We want to know which t-shirt design that you know best. If you head over to the Levels of Wrestling Twitter page, you'll see 3 of the designs that are sitting there. If you go ahead and you let us know which one you like best, we can sort out who has the most votes. And of course, we can then get the t-shirts out to you guys. Now, these t-shirts will be coming to you through ProWrestlingTees.com. So you know they're going to be great quality, and you know they're going to be just as good as any other wrestling t-shirt you can get. Now, of course, if you're not up for t-shirts, we do have other options as well. But, we know that you guys like t-shirts, and we thank every single one of you for following us so far. This is why we want to make the year anniversary show so big for you guys, because I know we've had people watch from episode 1 all the way till now, where I've had to do a show on my own. Guys, I respect you and thank you so much, because this has been such a weird situation to be put in. Podcasting one-on-one with a microphone is kind of unusual. It's kind of intimate, but it's okay. And I'm kind of glad I've got you guys here listening, keeping me company, sending me in your questions. I got asked earlier on today, what do I think is going on with Kane? Is Kane going to become the Demon again? Because it was this week, and I believe it would have been Monday, that it was 13 years? Either 12 or 13 years, it's one of the two, since Kane unmasked for the very first time. Do I think we'll see Demon Kane again? I would like to think we do. I really would. I think it would give best props to his character, give him one last monster run, as much as fans keep saying, he needs to retire, he's too old, blah, 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 he can't move the same as he always did. No one cares. If you put the mask on Kane, fans will pop. You make him a demon, make him go after Seth, make him go after Brock even if you want. We still never got payoff for this idea that Brock beat The Undertaker. Undertaker's not gone face-to-face with Brock since then, I don't believe. Why not have Undertaker step up, but then have Kane interfere, come out in the mask and say he wants a shot at Brock as well? Have Brock retire him. I don't care. Kane has been a hell of a star for the last God knows how many years. He's one of the best guys they've had. He's also been one of the least injury-prone guys. I believe he's had 2 injuries in his whole career. And if you speak to Aaron, who's usually on Breakdown, he'd tell you the exact number. But Kane, to me, is one of those guys who kind of deserves to have that one last big run. I don't mind if he's got the title. I don't mind if he wins or loses. At least he's holding on to that title or chasing it anyway. Don't forget as well, guys, you can head over to Wrestle Addicts on a Monday, who will give you the Raw review, or the Raw live review, sorry. Hopefully I'm going to be able to join those guys. It all depends on time, time zones and all that crap. But if not, we're going to have Ant from Wrestle Addicts. We're going to have Glenn there as well, I believe. We're going to have Minds of Carnage, and we're going to have Paul from Levels of Wrestling there anyway. So even if you're not with me, at least you're with good hands. Another character who I believe currently is shining everyone out of the park. I mean, everyone is Bray Wyatt. I'm so glad they gave Bray something to do. The stuff with Roman, there was so many fans complaining, it was creepy and it's not right and there's children involved. No one cares. If you care, you should not be asking for, blood and the Attitude Era back. You people are wrong. There's nothing worse. I'd love to think that, Bray does get some kind of payoff out of this. Maybe Bray wins. That would be nice to see. He doesn't need to win, but it would be nice. This whole idea of anyone but you, you've got to think is Triple H's way of getting at the internet crowd again, because they wanted anyone else but him in the main event at WrestleMania. And of course, now Bray Wyatt's using that against him, cutting eyes out of photos, cutting mouths out of photos. I can almost hear the girls getting upset at the fact that Roman may have no eyes in photos. What are you going to stare into, girls? He's got no eyes. Don't answer that. I know where you're going to stare. And that's a terrible thing to be doing, girls. Like I said, guys, if you've got anything you want us to answer, please feel free to send it in. Even if you've got anything to say about the show tonight, let us know. I'll read it out. I'm actually beyond caring. So please bring it in. Oh, man. I understand now why you need a bottle of water with you when podcasting alone, because talking for 30 minutes is difficult. Now, as I said, guys, you can join us tomorrow night as well for Breakdown. We're willing to take in any suggestions you guys have. I believe this is actually a 6-month anniversary for Breakdown as well, which is kind of interesting because we never intended to do 2 shows originally. If anyone out there likes to write as well, as in wrestling blogs, even fantasy bookings, that kind of thing, get in touch with us. We're starting to write blogs again. We're starting to fill up our blog pages, even our article page on Facebook. You guys can get in touch with us there and we will sort something out. Hopefully, if it's a good piece, we may even take you on full time. It'd be great to hear from you. I got asked as well this week, it was kind of an unusual question. What is my current theme? My favorite theme music in WWE? I honestly don't know, which is really weird for me considering it's what I studied for a year. I'd like to think that, someone's going to come out and have really standout music. But for me at the minute, everything is good, but it's not mind-blowingly great. I like Kevin Owens. I like Finn Balor's music. I like Bray Wyatt's music. Roman Reigns' music is still really good. I know it was originally the Shield music, but for those among you, you may have realized it's been shifted up a pitch. I still really like Big Show's music. The fact that fits so well with his character, he walks in time, it's good. It's great. Speaking of music, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I've told you guys for a while that I was going to sing. I apologize if this goes badly, but tonight we've hit the half-hour mark. You guys can tune in. You can hear me sing just now, and then we're going to sign off. Okay. Before we sing, please make sure that you tune in next week for our 1-year anniversary of Lowdown. That's still weird to say. You can hear from us on levelsofwrestling.podbean.com, as well as Just Sing, Mind of Carnage, Ringside Ramblers, and Wrestle Addicts. You can get us on the app by searching Levels of Wrestling on the Google Store, all one word. That's the best way to find us. And of course, you guys need to stay on the level. And I'm so sorry if this goes badly. Okay. From me to you. Thank you, everyone who's paid attention. Honey, why you calling me so late? It's kind of hard to talk right now. Honey, why you crying? Is everything okay? I gotta whisper 'cause I can't be too loud. Well, my girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish she was you. I guess we've never really moved on. It's really good to hear your voice saying my name. It sounds so sweet, coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words makes me weak, and I never want to say goodbye. But girl, you make it hard to be faithful with the lips of an angel. It's funny that you're calling me tonight. And yes, I dreamt of you too. And does he know you're talking to me? Will it start a fight? No, I don't think she has a clue. Well, my girl's in the next room. Sometimes I wish she was you. I guess we've never really moved on. It's really good to hear your voice saying my name. It sounds so sweet, coming from the lips of an angel. Hearing those words makes me weak, and I never want to say goodbye. But girl, you make it hard to be faithful with the lips of an angel.